This video is sponsored by Camera Store. Do you know those days where you're patiently waiting for a package to arrive because you know that there's something very, very special in it that you've been looking forward to forever? Well, at least that was the case for me, because I probably haven't been as excited about a package as I've been for this one. Because in here is my dream camera. The white whale I was lusting after for years, the one to get away, the one dream camera that's probably many people's dream camera. And you got 5 more seconds to guess which one it is before I will actually reveal it in 3, 2, 1. The Mamiya 7 II, a 6x7 medium format rangefinder film camera known for its brutally sharp glass, top-of-the-notch image quality and light compact nature in relation to its film size. My dream camera I never thought I would be able to shoot one day. I cannot tell you how excited I am to finally be holding it in my hands. And yet, little spoiler alert, I'm not keeping it, but I am sending it back. But before I'm letting it go and before we get into the details why I won't keep this dream of a camera, let's take it out on a photography adventure first. There was one very particular trip I had in mind to try out the Mamiya 7. In between the years, I went on a family holiday to the very south of Bavaria, close to the Austrian border. A winter wonderland full of magical light and painterly landscapes. I knew that this would be the perfect trip to try out this camera, since I wouldn't do any fast-paced street photography, but rather slow, intentional photography of nature and suburban scenes, where the extra resolution would come in handy. Therefore, I packed the Mamiya 7 II and a bunch of medium format film in black and white and color, and was ready for the adventures ahead. The only thing separating me from shooting this dream camera in a dream location is an 8-hour drive. Well, let me correct that. The only thing separating me from getting started was a broken down car in the middle of nowhere and a 16-hour journey before finally arriving at our destination. This was certainly a different start to our vacation than planned, but the beautiful nature and the wintry scenes that we were greeted with on the next day surely made up for it. After settling in, we promptly went on our first winter walk, so of course I took the Mamiya 7 with me and loaded in the very first roll of film. This beautiful place we ended up in is a little town not too far from the Tegernsee. I've been to Bavaria before, but never in winter, so I was super excited to see this region being covered in a thin layer of snow.
Well, first image with the Mamiya 7.
Let me start off with a confession time. I've shot plenty of medium format in the past, but only 6x5 with my Bronica ATRSI and 6.6 with my Yashica matte or plastic bombers like the Synchro Druch or the Holga. I've only shot one individual roll of 6.7 in the past, when a friend of mine let me try out his Mamiya RB67. Thus, I didn't only want to find out if this camera, but also if the 6.7 format in general would be something for me.
This camera feels a lot like a Leica M. Feels like a chunky, plasticky brother of a Leica M6. I feel like I've used this my whole life, even though I didn't, which is kind of fun. And for the size, it's actually rather lightweight. I think my Leica M10 probably weighs just as much. So having like such a powerhouse in a 6.7 format and such a rather compact and rather light costume is incredible to me.
Läuft schon? Ja. Oh, das bin ich. Hallo.
I started out with the roll of black and white film, since this wouldn't hurt the bank as much in case I would mess up my first roll. The film turned out fine, but now seeing the results, I'm not blown away by the black and white images. With only 10 frames per roll, the first roll was finished in no time though, and I switched to color afterwards, which did this beautiful light more justice, I think.
Schon von leer. Sollte mal kurz. jetzt tatsächlich sogar bis zu...
The next roll I loaded was a roll of Kodak Gold 200, one of my absolute favorite films. I love how these next shots turned out, and I personally think that Kodak Gold in 120 looks even better than any 35mm variation, since it has this perfect balance of warm and saturated tones while still showing less grain. In case you've been following my channel, you might know that I mainly do street and urban photography. I wouldn't call myself a landscape photographer by any means. When it comes to landscapes, I'm honestly more of an opportunist. I have a camera with me at all times, so when the things I'm usually interested in are not available, of course, I'll take photos of landscapes as well. I wouldn't say that I'm particularly good in it, but it's the same as with other things. Practice makes perfect. No, let me correct that actually. Practice doesn't make perfect, because perfection is an illusion in my opinion, but practice certainly helps to learn and grow and get better over time. So I thought that this trip would be ideal to kill two birds with one stone. Practice my eye for nature scenes and have fun with a new toy while doing so. Since I have so little experience with 6x7 as of now, I stumbled upon one thing that made me super confused in the beginning. 6.7 film doesn't give you images in a 6x7 aspect ratio. Did you know that? Like, I was literally today years old when I found out, and initially I thought that maybe I messed up while shooting or my images were magically warped while scanning, but after some research I found out that the image size of a Mamiya 7 frame is actually 56 to 70 millimeters, which makes the aspect ratio closer to a 4x5 than an actual 6x7 frame. Super confusing in fact, so if anybody has any explanation why it was still called 6.7, please enlighten me in the comments down below.
Well, one thing I'm surely struggling with is the limitation of only having 10 shots per roll. I always thought that 36 exposures on a 35mm roll of film is way too much, and I sometimes struggle to finish one. On the other hand, 10 exposures is too little. I feel like the sweet spot is like 15 to maybe 20 shots, so a 6x5 medium format roll of film or a Hasselblad X-Band kind of format is ideal for me. But 10 shots is a little bit too limiting, because I either blast through the whole roll in 5 minutes or I get so picky and so selective that I don't shoot at all. So 10 shots per roll is something I'm not sure I want to commit to.
While loading my next roll of Portra, yes, we're getting to the good stuff now, I had a lovely conversation with a gentleman who was blown away by somebody still using film.
Ja. Haben Sie wahrscheinlich auch schon lange nicht mehr gesehen, oder?
Nee, ich hab so ein Zeug noch auch im Schrank stehen.
Das ist eine analoge Mittelformatkamera. Genau, muss jetzt nur einmal kurz den Film laden und dann geht's weiter.
Was ist das?
Eine Mamiya 7 2.
Okay, ja.
Genau. Das ist ein schönes
50,
Teil.
50er drauf?
65er, müsste
heißt
so ein
35er
35er Äquivalent,
sein.
genau.
Wirklich?
Ja. 6x7.
Lange nicht mehr gesehen.
Ja.
Dann viel Spaß.
Ja, schönen Tag Ihnen noch. Tschüss.
I've heard and seen plenty about the image quality of the Mamiya 7, but now being able to experience it with my own images and seeing how sharp they would turn out is truly fantastic. I cannot really pinpoint what it is about the rendition of the images, but I think they have this specific medium format depth and pop to them. The images are more detailed and higher resolution than 35mm film, but, at least in my opinion, still have enough character to keep that film look and not look too digitally clean. All these images so far have been taken as a byproduct while spending time with my family, where I tried to multitask and take photos on the side. But the next day I decided to split from the group and roam around on my own for a bit to be able to focus more on just taking photos. Once again I was blessed with fantastic weather, so this time I decided to explore a forest nearby and truly channel my inner landscape photographer. Apparently in the forest the snow hasn't melted down too much yet, so I tried incorporating the patches of snow as much as possible.
By the way, I'm shooting a roll of Portra 400 right now, but I set my ISO to 200 because I usually always overexpose Portra by one stop. However, in addition to that, as you can see, it's pretty snowy and the snow reflects quite a lot. And what internal light meters of camera like to do is that they expose for a neutral gray. So if we have a lot of white area, this area will be seen as a neutral gray, which we don't want. So when shooting in snow, I usually always set my exposure compensation to +1, which I also did here on the Mamiya 7, just to be sure that our snow is in fact white and not gray. And now let's finally talk about why I'm not keeping this camera. The answer is relatively simple. I would love to keep it, I would love to own it, however, it's not mine. I got this camera as a loan from Camera Store, who are also sponsoring this video, which I'm very, very grateful for. And the long story short is, I've been partnering up with Camera Store for a couple of videos in the past, and they just sent me a message and asked, hey, which camera from our store would you like to try? Just select any and we can send it your way. So when the thought of the Mamiya 7 came up, I was already sold, and I knew that I really, really wanted to try this camera for a longer amount of time, not only loan it like for a day, but like for a longer time. So I was very grateful that Camera Store sent this my way, and I got this one as a loan, but usually Camera Store is a store where you can buy analog equipment.
More precisely, Camera Store is one of the biggest online stores for analog photography equipment based in Finland. The core focus of Camera Store are restored photography film cameras, but they carry pretty much everything you can think of, including analog cameras and lenses, digital cameras, movie cameras, instant and even super exotic nerd cameras. What's special about Camera Store is that they use authentic film era testing equipment to check the cameras thoroughly and potentially repair items before they are being sold. Once you click on an item, you get detailed information about its condition, ranging from restored items that have been repaired or serviced in-house and were perfectly fine after that, to certified or passed items that were found to be working without the necessity to get them fixed, to not passed items that are either untested or flawed. When I was looking for a camera for this trip, I was surprised to see that they actually had more than one Mamiya 7 in stock with various lens options, which is amazing for such a rare camera that can sometimes be hard to find. But you don't have to look for something with a Mamiya 7 price tag to find something nice here, since Camera Store has cameras in every price range for beginners, intermediates and professionals alike. Camera Store has typically over 14,000 items in stock, so the chances of finding the right camera for you here are pretty high. In addition, they ship worldwide and offer a warranty for the equipment you get. If you want to try it out, you can get 5% off your purchase by using the link in the description box. But also, if you don't want to buy more equipment but rather slim down your arsenal, Camera Store is a great option to sell your old cameras and lenses to.
So if you're in a market for a new camera, definitely check out Camera Store. Once again, thank you for sending me this and for sponsoring this video. And now, let's take this out a little bit more.
Even though I already anticipated that I will most likely send the camera back, I have to say that this was not final for me. And no worries, Camera Store, I never intended to just keep the camera and, I don't know, live an anonymous double life in a different country or something like that. But I knew that contacting Camera Store and saying that I would buy it instead of sending it back would be an option. I mean, do you know how hard it is to have the camera of your dreams in your hand but have to let it go again? Therefore, I also wanted to use the time to actually investigate if I liked the camera enough to make buying it an option. In the end, I decided to let it go due to several reasons. For one, as I said before, I wasn't sure if I wanted to commit to only 10 shots per roll because the cost for materials like film and developing would just be significantly higher. Also, the price of the camera pretty much had the last say. At Camera Store it would be around 4,500 euros, which admittedly might be higher than eBay prices, but considering that it's been tested, serviced and equipped with a warranty, it's not too bad after all. but that's a chunk of money I've never spent on a camera before, and I feel like I just cannot justify this expense for the level of photography that I currently do and the amount of cameras I already own.
The only lens I got to try so far is the 65mm lens, which is about a 35mm equivalent, so a focal length I'm very much used to. I would have loved to try more lenses, but I feel like for these circumstances in the mountains, it's perfect to have something a little bit wider. We'll be in the city tomorrow, so we'll see if this combination also works for architecture.
I don't know what it is, but yet again the black and white didn't blow my socks off. I think this roll of FP4 might have been expired or something. I just think it turned out too contrasty and the details are not where I like them to be. Therefore, let's go through the images quickly and not spend too much time here, since we have another interesting day trip coming up the next day. We were greeted by a fresh batch of snow the next day, which generally is awesome, but that day was a little bit inconvenient since we wanted to do a day trip to Innsbruck in Austria. So we freed the rental car of ice and snow and hit the road, enjoying the view of snow-covered trees and streets. Our stop in Innsbruck was in fact rather brief, since the city wasn't our main destination. Instead, we had a quick lunch and hit the road again with 2 more people in the car, but more on that in a bit. The light was fading rapidly, so I decided to shoot some images through the car window. I was in the backseat though, and the windows in the back were tinted, which made the whole situation a bit more difficult, but I was in fact surprised that I got this shot of the church tower in focus. That scenic mountain in the back was actually what we came here for, and we managed to arrive at this spot just in time to have this magical pink illumination of the tip. I guess I generally did something wrong when loading in the film though, since I almost consistently got the first of the roll light leak. And you might have guessed it, I was actually visiting Theo Crawford, whom you might know from his amazing YouTube channel. Admittedly, I didn't film much since we were talking and geeking out this entire time, but I managed to snap this portrait of him. We had a wonderful hike as the sun was setting, and I switched to shooting with my digital camera at that point. But here are the few results I managed to capture with the Mamiya 7 before it got too dark. Once again, thanks Theo for this super fun trip, and hopefully we'll have more time to hang out the next time we meet.
Even though I appreciate the image quality and the sheer volume, the sheer size of the negative, I guess I'm just a smaller kind of medium format girl. I think 6.6, maybe even 6.45 is enough for me. So instead of, continuing to cry over letting this one go, I think I might actually just look more into the 6.45 rangefinder cameras, a Bronica RF 645, a Fujica GS 645, something like that, to maybe find something comparable, just with a bit more shots per roll.
So, what's my conclusion about the Mamiya? Let's put it this way. Some dreams shall remain dreams. And some dreams need to be lived out, at least for a little bit, in order for them to stop. For this one, I have to say that trying out the Mamiya actually helped me to get over my gas a little bit, at least temporarily. I mean, it's a fantastic camera, I enjoyed shooting a lot, and the image quality is unbelievable and unlike any other film camera I've used before. Little interruption, by the way, just to let you know that this is actually my favorite image I've taken during this trip. But spending time with equipment, not just for an afternoon but for a bit longer, helps to get to know all of its quirks, the pros and the cons, and especially how a piece of equipment fits in with your personal needs. And the thing I realize over and over again is that image quality is not what matters the most to me. I value other aspects like portability or user experience even more than the final output. So if the camera is not convenient for me to bring, I will oftentimes leave it at home, and that makes the camera useless in the end. The user experience of the Mamiya 7 is of course top-notch and exactly to my taste with the bright rangefinder, which is why I wouldn't mind owning it, but as I said, the price and the 10 shots limitation made me decide against the camera for now. So overall, I'm still incredibly grateful for this opportunity and think my baby steps in landscape photography didn't end up all too bad after all, but of course the beautiful scenery deserves the majority of the credit. And all that being said, I would say thank you so much for watching and see you in the next episode.